Hello Oud lovers and fragrant enthusiasts, hope you're well. Today we're going to be doing a short video and slightly different video where we're going to be reviewing a brand called Oud Lab. Now I got to meet the brother who owns Oud Lab last year in Dubai when I was over there distilling my oils, and he rang me up and we hooked up. And I hadn't met him physically at that point. Prior to that, I'd known him for about a year or so online, and it was one of the highlights of my trip to Dubai this time round, because I really got to meet someone who, you know, is just as passionate about oud and about fragrances as myself. So it was a complete joy to meet him, hung out with him. We went to a shisha bar and just smoking shisha, and he brought his like big box of ouds that he wanted to showcase to me, and it just blew me away. Just his collections, his creations, that was really kind of something that overwhelmed me. He's just got a natural talent for making perfumes and attars, in my opinion. So keep an eye out for him. And yeah, so he sent I think 13 samples, got right here, to another friend of mine who is also going to be doing a review, I'm assuming. But I happened to you know, snatch it off of him for a few days to give this brand a big shout out and go through some of the oils. I have tried these oils like I said last year, so I chose I mean 5 of them probably 6 of them out of the 13 that I thought really could have stood out. So I'll quickly go through each one of them. One of my favorite ouds from the Oud Lab is Borneokin. Now Borneokin is the favorite one, actually. This is the best one out of the lot, in my opinion, and because I can really, you know, feel the quality in this. I could smell the quality, and I could smell the depth, and I'm sure that they used extremely high grade material for this, just because the way it blossoms, the way it develops over time, and it's a mind-blowing one. It's a really therapeutic one. It really reminds me of one of the 3 Sri Lankans that I made. This one, you know, it's very close to a Sri Lankan. It's very similar to one of my Sri Lankans, but it's a beautiful oil. It opens up with a slightly greenish, spicy-ish note, and that changes fairly quickly into kind of this fruity, almost like this fermented mango note. And the mango that I have in my head is this particular mango that's grown in Pakistan, and it's this yellow mango. I mean, those of you who know what it is, you'll know what I'm talking about. And I'm just referring to, you know, I remember smelling the skin of this mango, and it really reminds me of that. It's got this fruity, and that's a lot like one of my Sri Lankans. It's got this kind of fruity note to this fermented mango note to it, and then it's this kind of creamy, like almost like vanilla note in there as it dries down, and it's kind of floral notes. Just it really is like a bouquet to a certain extent of fruit and florals, and this kind of jungle note. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful, and it's a stunning oil. And anyone that's into oud and into Indonesians or Sri Lankans, I would highly recommend you buy this one, because they're rare. These ones are rare, believe you me. And I just can't get enough of it. And what really surprised me about this particular oil is that, like a lot of ouds, can really kind of surprising, and it's almost like a chameleon. It can change in so many ways, and depending on the temperature of the day or the night that you're wearing it in, and it can really, you know, it can really be elusive. In the notes can be really elusive depending on your body temperature, depending on your skin type. It's an absolute amazing thing, oud oils, and this one is a classic example of a really high quality oud oil, and the way it can, and the effects of it on the skin, and the way it develops. It's absolutely stunning oil. Highly recommend you guys buy this one. But anyway, swiftly moving on to some of his other stuff. So then there was another oil that kind of stood out, and I would say is on par with my Sultan, Hindi Sultan, and this one's called Maharaja. Where this one really outshines most ouds out there, most Hindi oils out there for sure. You know, it's resinous. It's, again, this one has a slightly citrusy note to it. In a dry down, you get that tobacco, you get the leather. It's a beautiful oil. Another great oil by him, and I would consider this a high grade for sure, without a doubt, because the material, I can smell the material straight away. You know when you apply this one, those who know their Hindis, you'll know this one's a high grade oil. Anyway, so now there was another one, an oud oil that really stood out, and it's something that I've been trying to purchase for a while actually, but this one is slightly different to what I wanted. But this one is called, and I would say this is a much higher grade to the one I wanted. But this particular oil will have, it's very different from most oud oils you'll smell. Now at first you'd think it's overcooked, and that there could be a possibility of that in this particular one. But where it really shines is that this particular ingredient, or shall I say this oud, will be an ideal ingredient for making attars and perfumes, because it has this natural smoky note to it that is nothing else really, in my opinion. And this one is called Borneo Kimori, I think it is. Yeah, hope I'm not butchering the name here, but yeah, again, this one, and this is the one I actually spoke to him about, and I was like, wow, it reminds me of a particular Thai and Hindi oil that you can get from some of these distillers. And he's like, no, this one is different. This one was made from aged and high grade wood. And to be honest, I would say he's correct in that. But it has this amazing smoky note to it and it just, because of this, it gives it this extra layer, and I think it's the material, again, the material that I used on this one is of high grade, so you'll get lots of different notes in this one, and it's quite difficult to identify, and this is what makes it even more special than some of the others. Anyway, moving swiftly on, and two of my favorite out of his attars were this particular one called Purple Haze. Now, in my opinion, and I have tried quite a few people's attars, and this one, it's an outstanding, in my opinion, it's an outstanding attar. And honestly, and I was trying to look for the word that best describes this attar, and I would say opulent is the perfect word for this, because it has some amazing floral notes in it, and these particular floral notes, I think they're rose. I think it is rose. I would say it's rose, but he mentioned that he used a number of different types of floral materials, and I'm assuming it's different roses from different regions. I'm not sure, but the best attar I've tried in ages. Honestly, this one really blew me away. This one really blew my socks, and this is the one I tried when I was in Dubai, and there was a perfume also that he sprayed me with, which just totally blew me away. I mean, this guy is super talented, in my opinion, and he's just getting started. I know he's going to be around for a long time, and I know he's going to be creating some amazing perfumes and amazing attars. So do keep an eye out for this guy, or shall I say this brand. So The next one that that was also that really stood out from the 13 that he's got, the 13 samples that he's sent over, was one called Badesha, I think it is, but Badesha. Again, maybe I'm butchering the name here, but this one honestly is anyone who's mingled around with ouds and blends and stuff like this, oud blends, right, will know how difficult it is doing blends with oud. Oud can just overpower all the other notes, and when you're playing around with it, so getting the right amount in an attar is really the key, and not only that, it's also getting the balance with the other fragrances that you or other materials that you add to it. I can honestly see how skillful he is by just on this particular one alone, because I myself have been dabbling with a few Hindi attars, mixing and stuff like this, and I know how difficult it can be, especially with Hindi. With some of the others, like Thai and Cambodian and Indonesian, it is slightly different. But for me, when it comes to the Hindi, is that much more harder to do a good blend, and this is where this one really outshines a lot of the attars. But it's not as wearable as Purple Haze, in my opinion. Purple Haze is definitely an extremely wearable attar, and it's just, yeah, it's so therapeutic. It's unreal. Anyway, so with this one again, I think the base is Hindi. I don't know what he's added to this, but definitely some floral notes in there. But you get a lot of fruity notes in there as well. Yeah, this one perfectly balanced. It's really well balanced attar. Wow, what a beautiful blend. I really haven't had much time to go through and really kind of experience some of these samples, because the person that I've taken it from, I'd had to he's leaving the country, so I have to get this back to him as soon as possible. He's going on Friday, and I don't have much time to actually sit down and go through each and every single one of these, because that's what it takes when it comes to these sort of stuff like ouds and attars. It really takes time, because when it comes to these natural stuff, it can be very subjective, especially with oud. Some of the ouds that will smell amazing on my skin might not smell so amazing on yours. I had an experience a few weeks ago when I was with a brother he has some amazing oils, really high grade stuff, and I remember trying some of his oils on my skin, and then he was applying exactly the same one on his skin, and we both smelt it on each other's skin, and there's a marked difference. Some of the oils would really kind of project, and within a few minutes you'll start seeing, you start smelling all the different notes and tones on there, whereas it wasn't the case on his skin sometimes, so the smell can really differ from one person's skin to the other. This is where it's super amazing when it comes to ouds and natural ingredients in general. I know I can tell you right now, I haven't done much justice with this brand, only because I don't have time in terms of having these in my possession long enough to actually go through them and in a kind of more enjoyable format, so to speak, sitting down and just kind of really putting it on and let the oil rest on my skin and dry up and really go through each of the stages, from the first 5 minutes to the next 15, 20 and 30 and then within the hour and stuff like this. But one or two of them I have done, like the Purple Haze. Now, like I said, it does have rose in there, and I would say it's got either Cambodia or Thai oud oil in there. The dry down has that kind of fruity Thai fruity or Cambodian fruity note in there. So that's what you'll get on the dry down of Purple Haze. Again, I think Purple Haze is probably going to be one of his best sellers in my opinion, but we'll see. Let's see what he releases first. So do look out for this brand. Anyway guys, thank you for joining me, thank you for watching the video. If you like what I produce, please subscribe, and don't forget to press the bell icon, and please share it. And if you have any comments, don't be afraid to ask. I'd love to hear your opinions. So with that, have a nice day guys.